Hey everyone, welcome to this weekly Sidereal Astrology forecast for the week of December 1st through the 7th of 2025. All right, so this week we have a full moon and it's going to be around the Thursday time period. So we are coming up to the halfway point of the lunar month as we approach Thursday, building some momentum, increasing energy as what will likely be a shift of awareness around Thursday. Some new perspectives coming in and likely us shifting a direction when it comes to the monthly energy. So in terms of the aspects, we have a lot of deep energy right now. We've had Mars recently enter into Ophiuchus. We've got the Sun entering Ophiuchus on Saturday. Venus entering Scorpio. So this is the deep part of the sky. It's the time of the year for this. And so great time to be focused on depth, on deep diving, on bringing deep things to the surface, and practicing perhaps things like trust, intimacy, deeper connection, especially because we still have some of that Libra energy in effect. We've had Mercury go direct recently, but he's still in Libra, which is all about relating, balance, fairness, things like that also going on. But with that deeper side, the full moon is going to help us balance that out. It's going to be a full moon in Taurus, which is all about becoming more grounded, connecting to our inner resources, and cultivating that sense of self-worth and self-value that helps us dive deep and transform and all of that deep stuff. So the weekends here with a grand trine, over the weekend, Mercury will be trining up to the Jupiter and Saturn trine that we've had going on here. So nice to see a little bit of support with Mercury, things moving forward a little more with Mercury. That's the planet of our mind and communication, which is again more direct now and does have a bit of harmony over the weekend. All right, so let's go and take a look at all of this here in more detail when we return. Alrighty, so here's the sky for the week. We're looking at this for each day of the week, starting first with Monday, December 1st. As you can see here, we are using the actual size of the constellations. Pisces, for example, is a very large constellation compared to Aries, which is much smaller. We're using the visible sky here, which is very different from mainstream astrology. If you're noticing the signs are different, like maybe you're expecting the sun to be in Sagittarius this week, definitely check out the link down below for more information. And if you are interested in using True Sky, this software here, it's absolutely free. There's a free version and also a paid version if you want to get more detail, but that's not necessary. Even with the paid version, it's very intuitive, very easy to use. You can click planets, get all kinds of descriptions about that. You can do it again for the week, just like we're doing here. Click it and it tells you all what it's like to have those particular placements. So True Sky is the name of the software, True Sky Astrology software. There's a link down below if you want to check that out. Again, an absolutely free version. So taking a look here at the week as a whole, coming into the week, like I said, we still have a lot of this Libra energy. Venus will be finishing up Libra here up until Tuesday. Mercury just went direct here as well. So it's really a time of balancing both the concepts of balance. Okay, so Libra is all about finding more balance in our life. This has been great. It's really what this whole lunar cycle started. It started in Libra. So this is all about bringing in more balance in our personal life, right? So any areas that are out of balance, we bring them back into balance. And in our interpersonal life can be quite strong. Matters of relationships, matters of doing the right thing, mutuality, all this kind of stuff. So very strong here with the lunar cycle starting there. Mercury still there, Venus still there early in the week, but also this deeper energy as well, right? So the sun now officially in Scorpio, heading into Ophiuchus on Saturday. Mars in Ophiuchus, Venus entering Scorpio. So focusing on the deeper world is also the mix. So the relating, the balance mixed with the depth, the uncovering, the transformative, the healing. Great time for personal transformation of all kinds. So let's go and take a look at this for each day of the week, starting first here with Monday. The moon will be in Pisces on Monday. And this is an energy that we had over the weekend coming into Monday, which is really good for connecting more with the soul dynamics of life. So mental health things, prioritizing mental health, prioritizing a little bit more of this receptive approach, going with the flow a little bit, maybe a little bit more intuitive approach to things, All right, and really, again, prioritizing the soul health or spiritual health. So that's Monday, again, just like the weekend. As we do get into Tuesday, the moon will shift into Taurus and again start to build more of this momentum as we approach Thursday's full moon. Thursday will be the heightened energy of the lunar month. But Tuesday here, really good for initiative. Okay, so Tuesday, proactivity, assertiveness, setting goals, maybe expressing ourselves, noticing a theme around this on Tuesday. And Tuesday is also the same time that Venus will get closer to Scorpio. So we notice more of that deeper energy being affected now. Venus is the planet of the full moon. She rules Taurus. She's now going into Scorpio. So she's a big player this week. And I think we'll notice this shift where it's already been deeper with the Sun and Mars here, but certainly with our values starting to change. So Tuesday, we're starting to value more of the depth, more of the intimacy, more of the deep diving, more of the setting of boundaries when needed. Really, we get aware of the deeper aspects of life and what that means. So that can mean, again, healing. It can also mean maybe putting up those boundaries when it's appropriate, really getting into what really matters, but at the same time, doing it in a healthy and constructive way. So building healthy trust, healthy intimacy, deep diving when appropriate with those relationships. Venus, very much about this, but seeing the value of it, and even in our own personal life, research, uncovering deep things, just valuing more of that depth and candidness that Scorpio is all about there. Now, this is also with Venus sextiling up to Pluto as she goes into Pluto's sign. So Pluto's already about the deeper world. There's really nothing to elaborate here except for the fact that Pluto is supporting the transit a little bit. So generally speaking, depending on our personal charts, it might just be a little bit easier to get into that deeper world with these shifts, with these values, with Venus early in the week. Now, once we get to the Wednesday time, we'll then have the moon in Taurus, which is then really getting into that full moon energy. Again, the full moon will be on Thursday. So the days surrounding Thursday, getting some new perspective on things. Full moons is an illumination time. That's solar energy bouncing off the moon. We start to become aware of things we weren't aware of before. And it's also the halfway point of the lunar cycle. So 2 weeks ago, we started a fresh new beginning. And now it's a status check. How are things going? What's going well? What isn't going well? What are some things we can change or shift? And often then making a pivot. So full moons is not a new beginning, but certainly a pivot. The car's already at full speed, but we might be turning that wheel and now going into a different direction based on whatever insights or awareness we gain during the full moon. So this is going to be in Taurus, which is grounding the deeper energy. Taurus, the bull, opposite Scorpio. It's about connecting to Earth. This could be Mother Nature. It could be the natural world, the beautiful world, the aesthetic world, the luxurious world, right? The sensual world. That in and of itself grounds the deeper energy. We see this such as with the shaman, for example. The shaman, the healer, very nature-based, uses nature, grounds themselves in nature. And not just in the physical, external sense, but internally as well, grounding ourselves in our own nature. Self-worth, self-value, self-efficacy, the belief in ourselves. These are the things that are necessary for healthy healing, healthy intimacy, healthy deep diving, right? How can we have healthy interdependency like bonds, depth, trust, intimacy, without self-worth, self-value, self-reliance? How can we heal and transform and, uncover the deeper world without connecting to nature? I mean, we can, but it's healthy. The opposition helps us do it healthfully, helps balance out really two sides of the same coin. We can have healthy depth without groundedness. And at the same time, yes, we can have the material world, the physical world, the sensual world without real, raw, deep energy. All right. What's the point of all that stuff? Otherwise, it's just surface level. So balancing the earth with the water, the physical with the spiritual, self-reliance with other reliance, the material values with the deeper values. Anything around this, great time to be doing a status check, and we'll likely know some shifts and changes regarding this midweek. Now, there's no major aspects with it. Uranus is in Taurus, but still quite far from this particular full moon, but maybe with a little bit of Uranus energy, being open to thinking outside the box a little bit, being willing to challenge the status quo a little bit with this. Maybe challenge our own status quo, shake things up a little bit with those inner resources that Uranus has been already helping us do for these past few years here. The full moon will be opposite up to Venus, the ruler of Taurus, who's just entered Scorpio. So it just adds to the fact that balance is, of course, important, but that perhaps where we might be grounding and getting into this earthy energy is not only going to help us with the deeper world, but it might be actually through the deeper world. So willing to, again, see the deeper values of things can help here. Okay, but all in all, very constructive full moon. No major squares. We still have the kite formation, lots of trines and sextiles going on, supporting the energy at the moment. So that's midweek on Thursday. As we start to get into Friday, the moon will start to finish up Taurus, get into Gemini late Friday and for the rest of the weekend. So the whole weekend here, moon in Gemini, learning, communication. It's very much that kind of Mercury type of energy. So good weekend for being curious, being interested. This could be internal learning, private stuff, but also relational too, being that Mercury, the ruler of Gemini, is in Libra. And so likely through this more than other times, more about communication perhaps, more about relating with others, more about being curious with others, the willingness to exchange, to learn, to synergize in the relating world a little bit. And again, just using our minds and stuff can be great here. So very good weekend for practical stuff and all that. And it's also nice to see that Mercury will be rejoining this kite formation, rejoining this, what will be the trine between Jupiter and Saturn over the weekend. So Jupiter is the planet of expansion, and Mercury is going to be supported. We're going to be supported with this with our mind and communication. So we might have an expansive mind, willingness to see the big picture, a willingness to talk about things from a higher perspective, but also very grounding too with Saturn, the willingness to see the deeper world, the real world, the responsibilities, the things that require patience and perseverance. So we have a grounded mind and grounded communication. So expansion and contraction, Jupiter and Saturn very much supporting the very cerebral, mental, communicative energy that we have over the weekend there. All right. And over the weekend around Saturday, the sun will get into Ophiuchus. Again, this time every year, it's Ophiuchus season. But it really starts this process of not only being aware of the deeper world with Scorpio, but now starting to work with it. Right? Ophiuchus works with the Scorpio energy, with the deeper energy. That's why it's the healer. That's why it's the redeemer. It's working with it. Mars has already been here, so we've already been doing this with our assertive side, our masculine side, our direct side. That's been going through the healing and transformation process already, but having the sun here really adds to that and really, again, sets the focus for what is the remainder of this lunar cycle and what I believe will be the next lunar cycle. Yeah, so next lunar cycle will be an Ophiuchus lunar cycle, and that's going to be actually very close, or is it? Right at the end there, actually. Right on the cusp between Ophiuchus and Sagittarius. So it will be both. And that's very close to the galactic center, which we'll talk about in a couple of weeks. All right, everyone. So that's the week in a nutshell. Put simply, it is a full moon week. It's the halfway point of the lunar month, which is apexing on Thursday, December 4th. This is the awareness phase, and also this phase where we start to make some changes here. What's working, what isn't working, and pivoting accordingly. It's a time of grounding the deeper world and also being willing to bring depth to our physical or material world. Anything that's about balancing the earth with the water, self-reliance with other reliance, and the material values and deeper values. This is really what the apex of the week here is all about. All in all, the aspects are quite supportive. We just have a shift into some of that deeper energy with Venus on Tuesday, going into Scorpio, the sun going into Ophiuchus on Saturday. We have support with Pluto, the deeper planet, and we have support from Jupiter and Saturn with Mercury over the weekend. So a good weekend perhaps for, again, using some of that mental or communicative energy. All right, so everyone have a fantastic week. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to stay tuned for the live stream. Anna Maria goes live here every Sunday at 12:15 p.m. Eastern Time of the Americas. You can find links down below for that. But have a great week, everyone, and hope to see you at the live stream. All right, take care. Bye-bye.